All right. All right. Yes. Yes. Yes, it's Thursday. God, it is almost human live. And look at this, a full house this week. We got Wayne here without his wig this week. We have Al Horta from the Be Cool or Be Podcast out. You know, Al Horta said to me when I first started this live feed, he left a comment that said, if you have a Rush episode, you have to have it on. I am amazed, Al, that I remember that with this fucked up memory I got. I'm amazed I remember that. And when we decided on Rush last week, I go, oh yeah, I wanted to be on a Rush episode. So let's get him.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
And we got Manny here as Cole Peterson, Ultra Eagle. Tony Dio, the one and only, who's about to give us a review of a show. And then I didn't get your name. I got the Majesta.
Victor. I'm Victor, the Meister.
Victor Meister, Wayne's friend. Wayne said, if we're going to do Rush, we got to have Victor. I was like, all right, bring Victor on.
Wait a minute. Wayne, you have friends?
No, but I knew he liked Rush. So I have no idea who he even is.
And then finally, my coattail rider, the one and only Wattzilla.
Yeah.
Wadley. Always say my name before his because of my ego.
Yes,
and,
very fragile.
We are part of the Rock and Metal Combat Podcast, and we're coming back this weekend again, aren't we, Ian?
Yes, we are, but we got a delay on the Patreon shit, man. That shit's a pain in the ass. So Patreon's kind of put on hold. Hopefully just a week, but give me your money.
There you go. And what we're gonna do this week is we're gonna do a track by track album battle, something that I do on my channel all the time. All of us are gonna do a track by track album battle, which is Rush 2112 versus Farewell to Kings. Gonna, match them up. But before we do that, Tony here, look at the shirt that Tony's wearing. Tony went and saw the very last Kick show. What was that, like 2-3 days ago?
It was Sunday, actually. Yeah, it was in Columbia, Maryland at the Merriweather Post Pavilion, which is Kix is from that area. That's their home base, Baltimore, Maryland area. And it was a phenomenal show. I mean, those guys went out big time. I mean, they sold out an amphitheater. And this is a band that usually plays theaters and clubs when they tour. And even back in the day, when they were a full bigger band or whatever you want to say, like during the late 80s, they were always a support band in Coliseums for bands. Like I saw them open for Whitesnake, I think in 1989 in a Coliseum, so it was something else to see that they sold out an amphitheater. And I think there was the seats all sold out in 3 hours, and they had the lawn area. And it was raining. It was a drizzle rain during showtime, but it didn't stop people. I think they said it was estimated 17,000 people.
Wow.
Nice.
I'm shocked.
If you go to Merriweather Post Pavilion's Facebook page, there's an overhead drone shot of the stage with all the people. It just looks amazing. It looks like, you would think it was like some big, huge band like Foo Fighters or somebody playing. But yeah, it was really cool. Kix is one of those bands that always kind of got thrown into the glam metal thing, and they're not. They predated all that. It came out like 1980, and they were like the Shoes before that, and then the Kicks or whatever. So they've been around for a long time.
Wait, stop. They were the Shoes?
They were called the Shoes.
I remember the Shoes. Did they release records?
No.
Because there was a band back in the late 70s, early 80s.
You thinking of New Shoes, Ralph? The New Wave band?
Yeah.
I can't wait.
They were
shit.
You remember it, Ian? Oh wow!
I love that song.
So yeah, they predated all the what became hair metal and all that, but they were very influential to a lot of those bands because I've heard people like Bret Michaels and Duff McKagan and stuff really just praising Kix as being one of the best live bands they ever saw in the clubs back in the early 80s. And so they're a little AC/DC, a little part Cheap Trick, maybe kind of thrown together. it's a good rock and roll band that always puts on a great show. And they had pretty much they had all original members except Donnie Purnell, their original bassist, who their own I think they're pretty estranged from him. No love lost.
Wasn't he the
there.
main songwriter?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so but Ronnie Youngkins came out, guitar player. They had the guy that's been filling in for Ronnie while he's been recovering, and he's been recovering from alcoholism, drugism, or whatever. He and Scott Bob has been filling in for him, but also Brad Diven from the band Wrathchild, or Wrathchild America. He actually played on the Cool Kids album, their second album. Brad came and he got up and played a few songs with them, and it was great, man. I mean, they had full production, pyro. I mean, it was a massive stage show they put on and all for Kicks. Like I said, and they usually do clubs and stuff, so they were getting to do a big stage show. So that was really cool. They had a LED screen behind them to put the album covers up, and while they were, when they would do the different eras, and they even did some medleys of some songs that hadn't played in years. So, but yeah, that's the way to go out. I mean, Steve Whiteman, the lead singer, said that he wanted to retire while he could still go up and do it. He didn't want to look like some old fogey up there doing it. He don't want to be like so many people we can name that, or who can't sing anymore, or having to rely on backing tracks. So they went out top notch.
Nice.
Great
Was there an
show.
opening band, Tony?
What's that?
Was there an opening band?
Yeah, a band from up that area called Child's Play, who had an album out called Rat Race, I think in like 1989 or 90. And they were on like, I think, Chrysalis Records when that album came out. But they were the opening band. And yeah, I don't know how many times I saw Kicks over the years. I mean, a lot, since like I saw them in early 87 was the first time I saw them. And so it's over 25 times or more, maybe 30 that I've seen them over the years.
Nice.
But just a great rock and roll band. If you're not familiar with them, totally left field on what we're talking about tonight with Rush. But if you just like good rock and roll, these guys are a great band to check out. Cheap Trick and AC/DC. You'd like them.
I saw the clips and it looked amazing, like the stage production. I'm thinking, like, what band lent them all this shit?
Yeah, it's probably they just rented it, I'm sure.
And who paid for it? But I mean, I think it's awesome. I love seeing a band that they never made it to that upper echelon. The closest they came was "Don't Close Your Eyes." Was probably what
that was their big hit. Yeah, but, I mean, they were selling merch. I mean, their merch wasn't overpriced. I mean, t-shirts like $35. That's cheap nowadays. You go to some shows, are $60 for a shirt nowadays.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it was great. And like I said, the rain didn't stop them, man. They put on a great show.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
That
man.
is cool.
Somebody in the chat saying there's no audio.
What?
Yeah, don't tell us. There was no audio for me earlier. People say, leave a comment. Can you hear us talk?
No, I hear it on here.
You hear it?
Yeah, it's on.
Yeah, it's on.
Okay.
It's on my phone in here.
I just
Yeah, I heard it.
somebody typed. They said they see no hair on Wayne.
Oh, hold on.
You're seeing that correctly.
Please, Wayne. Oh.
There we go.
There we
Put my hair on.
Oh, that's
All right.
beautiful, Wayne. That's beautiful.
And I'll make it look like I have hair, but I'm losing it.
He
looks like the guy from the Scorpions. He looks like Klaus from the Scorpions.
Hey, it's Klaus.
He
It's
looks like-
Klaus.
He looks like Cronus.
I just gotta say,
Yeah.
Cronus from
Yeah.
It's Kim
Yeah,
Mitchell.
Who knows?
It's Kim Mitchell from Max Webster.
It's Devin Townsend.
What a fucked up hairline.
isn't it? It's cool though, right?
Grow a
He's got a
mustache.
skullet.
look like-
All the kids
Gal-
are doing it today.
Get a mustache. You look like Gallagher.
I think I have a mustache.
Yeah, now he
Yeah.
kind of looks like Sideshow Bob.
Yeah, smash a pumpkin or a Dragon Force CD.
Oh, we got Sideshow Bob this week on the show. So, all right. So we're gonna get into Rush. Let's go around. Everybody, make it brief. How did you get into Rush? What was your first Rush experience? And we're gonna start with Sideshow Bob.
Sideshow Bob. My first Rush experience, hearing Rush on the radio all the time. I always heard Christ, I don't even know what songs I heard. doesn't matter. But if you heard Rush on the radio, you know what songs I'm talking about. And I was always fans of those songs, but I really never got into them like where I really need to go out and go buy CDs. Or records or whatever. So there was this website called Swap a CD. I had a bunch of CDs I wanted to get rid of, and on that website you can actually trade CDs with people. I'm like, all right, I don't have any Rush albums. Let me start collecting some Rush stuff. So that's how I started really getting into Rushes. I would, trade my CDs for Rush albums, and then I would actually listen to them, and I'd find out they're actually pretty good. So I've been a fan ever since. I remember seeing the Roll of Bones video on Headbangers Ball a few times. I really didn't care for it. But all this stuff just really grew on me. So I'm not a long-time Rush fan. Maybe last 10-15 years I started really getting into them. So I'm still kind of new, I guess. So
Did you
But
get,
Crazy Nights you got right away.
crazy.
But
I
not
bought that on the
Bones.
day it was released, and I was only
Okay.
5 years old.
did you get into Rush before or after you started Krusty Burger?
After.
After. All right. Al Horta, you said to me, if you're gonna do a damn Rush show, you gotta have me on, which means you must be a fan.
Yeah, well, Rush is my favorite band and my number one. Black Sabbath would be my number two. Van Halen would be my number three.
No, wait. How about Scritti Politti? Where do they fall in your top 10?
Pretty Politti.
And by Van Halen, do you mean Van Halen or Van Hagar?
DLR, bro, all the way.
Okay.
But I'm not a Hagar hater, but it's just not even close to the Dave era. So
I gotta tell you, Al, honestly, if you become more of a Hagar hater, you'll have a much happier life.
Yeah.
you're doing your job. You're steering me in that direction. So keep the hate going. And, I wouldn't want to have it any other way from you. So so how did I get into Rush? Is that like the question here?
Yeah.
Okay. So like 1983, I was like 11 years old. There used to be a station in New York. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the New York City area, but there was a station called WPLJ 95.5.
Oh yeah, I listen to it every morning.
They don't exist anymore. But they were a rock station back then. Then they turned into a pop station in the later 80s, mid to late 80s. But they were a full-blown rock station in the early 80s, 70s, into 80s. They used to play album sides like every Sunday. And one Sunday, I didn't have money to get albums yet. So I used to tape the album sides off the radio. And one Sunday they played side one of Permanent Waves. And I taped it. And I was like, who the fuck is this band? I don't know. Somehow something triggered my 11-year-old brain and something intrigued me. It was just the music, the lyrics, whatever, but it sounded good and I loved it. So I just played that tape over and over again. Then I begged my older brother to take me to the mall. The first time I bought by them was Exit Stage Left, because I can only get like one album. And that had a little bit of everything on it. It's kind of like buying the greatest hits back in the day. You bought like live albums, So Exit Stage Left, I bought that, and I don't know, man. I just started listening to them constantly, and they became like my favorite band as the years went on. And I didn't see them until 1990, though. I begged my brother to take me in the 80s to go see them, and he never got tickets or whatever. He wasn't that big of a Rush fan. I mean, he liked whatever he heard on the radio, but he didn't have any of their albums. So finally, when I started driving, I finally saw them in 90, and I went with a couple of friends and stuff, and I went to like 2 shows in a row just to I was like, dude, I'm gonna fucking do 2 in a row right off the bat, and it was the Presto tour, which was great. So, and finally, and I've met Getty and Alex a few times. I got in good with Anthem Records, like their record label. I did like a petition website when they came back after Neil's tragedies and they were going to go on tour. A friend of mine and myself, we did this website called rushpetition.com. And what we did is we voted for your 5 songs that you wanted to hear the most in concert. And then the band got wind of it and they actually started looking at it for ideas of the set list. And we got in touch with the management and then it's giving us back to passes and all that stuff. And all that good stuff. So I've been a fan for years since I was like 11, 12 years old. So Yeah.
So did they end up playing all 5 songs you guys petitioned?
They played 3. They played 3 out of the 5 songs in the top 5. They played "By Tour the Snow Dog," "The Camera Eye," and "Entre Nous." Those are like in the top 5 most voted. So yeah, they were definitely like looking, you know. And then if you went to top 10, I can't remember all the songs off the top of my head, but you know, "Passage to Bangkok," and they brought like a lot of old songs back, you know. So it was really cool. It was cool that they were looking at it, you know. So, you know. So that's my Rush fandom. Been
All right.
for a long time.
Right on. Manny, give us how did you discover Rush?
Well, I was 13 years old, and I, remember the Satanic Panic. I went to church. They had a pamphlet of all the evil rock bands, so I would buy
Rush
one
was in
off
there
each
too?
one. Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Yeah.
because of the song on I think it was "By Tour and the Snow Dog." I don't remember what song. Anyway,
Which one was another one?
And they thought the star was a pentagram, probably.
yes, that was
See,
another thing too.
The thing is, Rush wrote that song "Witch Hunt" about all the satanic people, the Satanic Panic people, giving them shit. That song Neil wrote about, because the whole Star and the Naked Man, they just saw it. You know how they draw conclusions at everything satanic.
But if they would read the lyrics, they would. Well, forget it. I'm preaching at choir here, but I went to the Kmart or Zayres or whatever, and went to the Rush section, and I bought. Yeah, remember that? And I bought Permanent Waves. I didn't know a single song on it, but it had a chick with her skirt blowing up and you could see her panties. I go, well, that's for me. So I bought that one. And what struck me was the lyrics, though. I was real young, but the lyrics struck me because they seem to be, I love Kiss and I love AC/DC, but the lyrics are very different. They're about things, Granted, I hadn't lived life yet, so I didn't know really what they were all about, but that's what struck me. And then the musicianship second, but you're going to laugh at me, but Rush and Bob Dylan and the Doors were the 3 bands where lyrics, first time I actually listened to what the singer was actually singing about. It wasn't just, sound. But anyway, that's how I discovered Rush.
Right on. How about you, Tony?
Well, I used to record stuff off the radio when I was 10, 11 years old. And I remember recording Limelight and Vital Signs. And I think the first Rush album that I purchased was 2 cassettes called the Rush Archives. And it was the first 3 albums.
Yeah, I remember that.
So you had the first 3 albums. But I think really when I got MTV, they showed the Exit Stage Left concert on MTV, and when they would have those Saturday night concerts, and I just thought that was so cool. And but I ended up getting All the World's a Stage, the live album, and that's still my favorite Rush album. I mean, even though it's live, I just love it because it's got all the stuff from the cassettes I had before, but it's got some 2112 stuff on it as well, the overture and so forth. So that's kind of just grew from there. And really after Signals, I guess I just kind of lost interest. I mean, when Grace Under Pressure came out, I don't know, I just wasn't big into that. And it's been hit or miss through the years. I like certain things. The only times I ever saw Rush in concert were I think it was Vapor Trails and the Clockwork Angels. And I worked those shows. I was a runner for those shows, so I got to work for the band. And but I did get to see some of the show on each one of those. And I actually got Neil's drum tech gave me one of his sticks, so that was pretty cool.
Wow.
Awesome.
Nice.
And I got
Awesome.
got a guitar pick from Alex as well from his tech. Those were the tours where they had the Getty's backline. On one tour was rotisserie ovens with the chickens in them, and one was a washer and dryer, tumble dryers. And they would take out T-shirts and throw them in the audience, and the shirts would say, "I got this T-shirt out of Dryer #3 at the Rush concert. That's just brilliant. I love that.
That's really cool.
Very, very cool.
Those are one of a kinds too, man.
Hmm. Probably worth a lot. Yep.
All right, well, Victor.
Yeah. So longtime Rush fan. My uncle, Uncle Bob, is about 11 years older than me. He was a Rush fan, in the 70s. And I remember driving around with him and, as a kid, he'd pop in his tape and, his 8-track and, rocking out to, By Tour and, all of that. And then I liked it. I was young. I didn't quite get it all. I didn't understand music really at all. And then I was probably, tween, young teenager. There was the local library here in Ogden. I live in Ogden, Utah. Had a massive record collection, if you can believe it, huge vinyl collection. And I remember I was probably like 12, 13, and I checked out Exit Stage Left double album, and it just completely blew my mind. I fell in love, from that album really. And then also all my buddies, their older brothers were big Rush fans, so it just kind of permeated, throughout. In fact, my brother's a big Rush fan. My younger brother, my son is now a big Rush fan. We all went to a show together. Actually, their last show, their last tour. Long time Rush fan. I've got all the early stuff on vinyl and everything on CD and most of it all on tape. And so in fact, I even have the program from the 77, 78.
Ooh.
Wow. Where'd you get that from, bro?
So my ex-wife is older than me, and she saw the show. She was probably 12 or so. I would have been like 7, 8 years old at the time. And she gave it to me because she didn't care. So I'm like, yeah, I'll take this. So got one good thing out of the marriage.
That's great. She gave you crabs and a program. That's awesome.
I could be wrong because it's been a while, but I bought the Farewell to Kings box set, and I believe it brought that program in it. I think.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's got it in there. It's got it in there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I do have a reprint of it. Well,
That's a great box set.
the next guy is going to talk about how he discovered Rush. I flew all the way to New Orleans to see the very last Rush show. Rush tour with Ian Wadley. Tell us how you discovered Rush.
Well, I mean, I gotta say, I probably heard like Tom Sawyer or something on the radio, but not realized who it was. But I remember, listening to a college radio station in Bloomington, Illinois, when Hold Your Fire first came out. And the DJs were like, we got the new Rush, but it's not that good. And they played a song off of it. And it wasn't Time Stand Still. It wasn't like the single or anything, but it just sucked so bad. And I was like, oh, this shit's terrible. I couldn't wait for the song to be over. And then I think when I got into Rush was when Presto came out. And I was 15. And one of my best friends in high school, his birthday was before mine. He got his learner's permit, and we lived out in the country. And he picked me up. He's like, hey, I got my dad's car. And I got the new Rush CD or tape at the time. And I was like, oh, okay. All right, whatever. Let's go into the city. And he put in Presto. And I fucking loved it. And to this day, I even listen to Presto today, and it just takes me back to being 15 and going into the city, and just amazing. And after that, I bought Chronicles, was released shortly after that, I believe. And that was all she wrote. Once I got Chronicles, I was like, oh, this band's fucking amazing. And went back and got all the other shit, and was lucky enough to see Rush, I believe, 4 times. I saw the Presto tour. I believe, what was it, the 30th anniversary? I saw the Time Machine tour, and then we saw the final tour, and they're just amazing. I love Rush. Aside from Power Windows and Hold Your Fire, I think I love every album Those I can't get into, aside from a song here or there, but just an amazing band. And so glad, especially the last show that you and I saw, Ralph, took a friend of mine who was a huge Rush fan, took his son, and he had passed away right before the show. So as kind of a tribute to him, I took his son and we went, and I didn't drink, which is, unusual for me at a show. So I remember everything that happened, which doesn't happen at shows. I remember like little bits, and yeah, they're great. And I probably remember shit being better than it actually was, but I was stone cold sober for that last Rush show. And I'm so thankful for it. It's just amazing. I mean, the musicianship, and I'm so glad my son likes him now, because I tried to turn him on to Rush when he was younger, and he's like, "Oh, Dad listens to it. It must suck." And then one of his friends started listening to Rush, and all of a sudden they were cool. Not cool if I listened to it, cool if his friend likes it.
Well, unfortunately, your son got into Presto.
No, he's probably never even heard Presto.
I want to say something briefly before I get into my Rush experience. The Chronicles that Ian talked about, what was so cool was back then, the only way you can get All the World's a Stage or Exit Stage Left on CD was incomplete.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the Chronicles brought the songs that were taken out, was omitted from the CD. What You're Doing, I remember it was one of them. And I think Passage of Bangkok.
Passage of Bangkok, yep.
Yeah.
That was the first Rush that I got on CD, was the Chronicle set. And then when they did all the remasters a couple of years later, I think that's when I went and bought, everything from the first album through, I think I got everything through Grace Under Pressure.
And two like amazing, like double disc greatest hits that I listened to at that time was Chronicles, and then Judas Priest Masterworks,
Yeah.
And they were both ones that were like heavy rotation in my teenage years. Like, you just get my license and driving around. And I thought they were both great collections because they were a little bit more, different track listings than what you would see on a normal greatest hits.
Exactly.
I thought they both did great jobs of showing you different eras. Like, by and large, especially now, I'm not a big greatest hits fan because it's all the shit you already know. And I love ones that take chances and put on different tracks. And that was my gateway, not only to a lot of Priest albums, but to Rush albums, and love it. Great shit.
It's been like 40 something years. So it was late 70s. I was already into buying records and mowing lawns to get money to buy records. And I'll never forget hearing Working Man on the radio saying, "That's the next record I'm buying." And that was my first Rush album was the first album. And God, I still worship that album so much. I think it's one of their best albums. I know it's not real Rush, it's Led Zeppelin Rush or whatever you want to call it. To me, I love that stripped down, before and after. I mean, Working Man, What You Doing, Finding My Way. I love that album. And my next memory of Rush is what I recall was my parents went on vacation, took us on vacation with them on this beach. I forgot where, but the hotel had HBO. This is the 70s, by the way, maybe 78, 79. And in HBO back then, between movies, they'd show music videos. And I remember vividly because they showed it a lot while I was there. Xanadu, Farewell to King, something else, Circumstances, Closer to the Heart. I would watch that over and over again, and then I ended up running out and buying I think it was 2112 was my next, and then Farewell to Kings, which, man, I mean, Hemispheres is super close, but when it comes to my two favorite Rush, it's 2112 and Farewell to King. Then Hemispheres, then the first one, But and then I saw Rush for the first time, and it's a very interesting story. I've told a million times. but I gotta say it again. They played the Hollywood Sportatorium on the Moving Pictures tour, and they weren't opening the gate because Neil Peart had problem getting an airplane from the Bahamas. He was in the Bahamas that night, and he was having a problem getting, and they wouldn't open the gate, and people got restless. And I saw a guy with a 2x4 hit a cop over the head, and then the policeman came with tear gas canisters and shot it right in the crowd, right? And I almost died if it weren't for my friend Claude, because I fell and I was getting trampled on, and he grabbed me by the arm and pulled me out of there. And I breathed in, man, breathing in that tear gas like breathing in fire. It was horrible. Police dispersed. But then finally Neil got there. They opened the gates. But when we walked in, I swear to you, they were raiding the merch table, like stealing stuff from the merch table. And I ended up getting a tour book from one of my friends. He stole a stack of tour books and he gave me one. And now here's the whole ironic part of the whole thing. I mean, all this crazy riot shit going on. I go in the show, and who opens the show? Riot. Fire Down Under tour, by the way.
Wow.
And,
Cool.
and man, Rush was phenomenal. They opened up with 2112. They had a big screen behind them that, it opens with the open, and then you see the star with the guy and stuff. And my God, what an amazing show. And then toward the end of the show, I was with my friend Angel Marlowe, who was the biggest Rush geek. And then they started playing a song. I was like, what the hell is this crap? They were playing a reggae song. And then Angel goes, that's fucking Working Man, because Geddy Lee was singing the song Working Man to reggae music. And then they went into the regular version.
Is Angel Latino?
Huh? Yeah, he was.
Oh shit, I lost audio.
That story that you just told, Rob, the tear gas, that's actually mentioned briefly in Rush biography. It was like one of the first Rush biographies called Visions. I remember that in there. That there was a story in there about the whole, they wouldn't open the gates and the cops threw tear gas and all that stuff. So yeah, dude, I mean, that sparked up a memory from me reading that biography.
Wow, that's awesome. I still got the newspaper clipping of the riot. Yeah.
Yeah. And Riot opened up. Ironically.
Yeah. Riot opened up. And then I saw Rush again. I won tickets, and it was all the way in Lakeland, Florida, which is nowhere near me. And I won tickets on the the K102 party bus. And believe me, this was a party bus. Because when we got on, first of all, me and my brother smoked a lot of weed before we got on the bus because we wanted to get high. And we're on the bus, and all of a sudden we're like, hey man, I smell weed. And in the front, the DJ, which oddly enough, her name was Randy Rhodes, but it's ROADS. And but anyway, she was smoking weed in the front. We're like, oh shit. So we start smoking weed. The guys on the other side were smoking hash. So we were trading back. And then they stopped at a gas station and bought a keg. I was like, holy shit, this is a party bus. Now, I'm underage at this time. And my friend lent me my binoculars because all you old fucks, you don't know this, back in the day, it was, you take binoculars to shows because they didn't have screens or anything. We'd be up there looking through binoculars. My friend lent me his binoculars. By the time I got to the Lakeland Civic Center, I was so shit-faced that the next thing I remember was somebody waking me up on the floor. It was general admission, and somebody stole my friend's binoculars, which was fucked up. But I saw Rush then I saw the Signals tour. Then I saw Grace Under Pressure, and that's when I stopped. Because I did like Grace Under Pressure, by the way. But everything after that, Power Windows, Hold Your Fire, I didn't like Presto or Roll the Bone, none of that. It wasn't until Counterparts I came back. So I stopped going to Rush shows till Counterparts. And I've seen every Rush tour since Counterparts. I saw Test for Echoes, I saw Snakes and Ladders, the anniversary shows. Time Machine is where they did all of Moving Pictures, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to that, and the Farewell tour. I went to New Orleans with Ian there to see it. So yeah, I've seen Rush about maybe 12, 13 times. I'm a huge fan, but I am not a fan of the later 80s stuff. That one, I gave up, you know? It wasn't until they started incorporating a little more guitar with counterparts, with Stick It Out, and, you know, Animate. I was like, okay, I can handle this.
Great album, man. I love Counterparts.
Yeah, I liked every Rush album since. I mean, some more than others, but I'm always gonna have my love for the 70s, up to, like, you know, Signals, really. But I like Great Under Pressure. But Signals, I think, still had some of that classic Rush. It got very keyboardy, but it was Great Under Pressure that took it way to the symphonic age, you know. But I dug it, but that was it. After that, I did try. I think Power Windows was the next one after that.
Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah, it was horrible. And Cold Your Fire was horrible. And I just didn't like any of it.
That's
But
like-
there you go. So
It's
now
like
we're gonna,
jazz rush.
huh? What's
It's like
that?
jazz. It's like jazz fusion rush. Like Hold Your
Yeah.
Fire. Like I don't like that. So
Yeah, I couldn't get into none of that. But you know,
Alex Tyson was happy with Counterpart stuff. He was happy to be back.
yeah, I'm sure he was getting pissed off that they kept drowning him out with keyboards through all those records, man.
Yeah, he says it in the documentary.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
Which, by the way, I will say, Time Stand Still, in my opinion, is a better documentary than what's great documentary. But what's that guy's name?
yeah,
Beyond the Lighted Stage.
Sam Dunn. Sam Dunn.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
done, yeah.
It's a good documentary. Don't get me wrong. It's not bad at all. But I thought Time Stand Still was even better, man. That was an amazing documentary with the nerdy fans and stuff. That shit was awesome. All right, so now we're gonna do my track by track album battle, where we put songs against each song. Both these albums have the same amount of tracks. I hope somebody here in the panel has the tracks in front of them, because I don't. So we can read them off.
I
Right
just want
here.
to thank Gene Simmons though, because without him, we might not even have Rush today. For him showing Geddy Lee actually to learn how to play bass.
Yeah, that's true.
Where's that story coming from?
He invented Rush.
Simmons.
I heard Sammy
Simmons.
taught Alex how to play guitar.
You know what Gene Simmons said? He goes, if Geddy Lee was to get up on stage in all the gear I wear, he'd pass out in 20 minutes. I'm like, dude, Geddy Lee looks way more healthier than you. You know?
Yeah. Geddy Lee sings, plays bass, and keyboards with his feet. I think he's in better shape.
No,
Well,
he's
my-
way better. You know, Geddy Lee is a bad.
Well,
You know,
my favorite Kiss like Rush story was, you know, it's been well documented about you know, Rush took Paul Stanley in a van and played him Caress of Steel, and Paul Stanley's just like, oh, I don't get it, until they told him that I think I'm going bald. They're like, yeah, you know, you guys influenced that because of I'm going blind. You know, that's our little homage. And then Paul's like, yeah, okay, I hear it now. And they said to get that authentic Kiss sound, they had Bruce Kulick play guitar on that song, you know. Makes a lot of sense.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's an Alex Lifeson's book. Yeah, true story.
hey,
Ian is a fountain of information, I tell you.
Yes.
you know what's funny? You mentioned that documentary, and Rolling Stone magazine was in the news because Jan whatever is a moron. But that's not what I want to talk about. Is Rush in that magazine, along with every other band I've ever loved, including AC/DC, was critically lambasted in that magazine, not for years, for decades, until that damn documentary came out, and suddenly Rolling Stone magazine loved them. I think that's bullshit. All right, I'm done
But
bitching.
Alex Lyson's acceptance speech at Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was brilliant.
Yeah,
Blah, 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 blah.
that was the greatest moment ever in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
And I loved it. Like Jan Warren, like he hates Rush. And when he went up there and introduced Hart and all these people, and then he goes, and from Canada, he didn't even say Rush yet. The whole place fucking exploded where he was like, whoa. It's on YouTube, man. It's like, yeah, douche. People love Rush, no matter what you think. And of course, he didn't want them in there. He didn't want Journey in there. He didn't want Kiss in there. You know, he was
Or AC/DC.
yeah, he was forced to put Rush in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And Rush, you know, I mean,
Well, he should like him. There's no black women or black people in that band. He should love them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, think about it. He hates blacks. He hates women. What's worse than that? The French. French Canadian. I get that.
Or you could be Roman Garcia. I mean, that's terrible right there. Right, Roman?
But anyway, how's the chat doing, Wayne?
Roman Garcia's chatting the whole chat room up. He's saying, you know what he said? You know
What?
he said? Want to know something fucked up that he said? My favorite night of the week, and you're discussing my favorite band of all time. And no Wayne, talk about a perfect night. That's pretty fucked up, Roman.
Wayne, yeah, but don't tell him, Wayne, that you're wearing a wig.
I won't.
He
I won't
doesn't-
tell him I'm wearing a wig
That's
at all.
something I'm a little sick of. We do this show. I'm not looking at the chat, but then I go back and I look at the comments and I see all this fucking Wayne hate.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Okay. Only we're allowed to fuck with Wayne, not you guys watching. Okay, we get to fuck with Wayne, not you guys. Be nice to Wayne.
I might bring I
man.
think I don't got a razor blade down here. Jesus Christ.
No.
I might bring one next week. I'll just do it
Wayne's
right on the
staying
show.
here, man. Wayne's staying.
No, please hate me as much as you want. I don't care. I don't care. I
Yeah,
really don't care.
You tell him, Sideshow Bob.
That's right.
Wayne, if you're gonna be emo, you got to pull your wig over over one eye.
Over one eye, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm
Emo.
sad. Now I'm sad. You guys got me sad now.
All right there, Wayne. 2112, the song, the whole side
Yeah.
one, versus the song "A Farewell to Kings." What do you think? What would you think is the better track out of both of those?
I'm going with 2112. Even though it's a 20 minutes long song,
Yeah.
it just got so much stuff in there that it just keeps you interested in wanting to keep hearing that song. And what did I write here? My thing. Great opening track. I'm not always a fan of long songs unless it makes you feel like it isn't that long. It's tough to make a 20-minute song not feel long, and they were able to accomplish that here. There's enough going on and where it keeps you interested, and I like how it goes back to previous parts of the song as it goes. And as far as Farewell to Kings, not a bad opening track, but 2112 just has it beat at 20 minutes. It doesn't have as much memorable parts to me as 2112 has, but it's a decent song. But like I said, just 2112 is just it's just got so much stuff going on in there, and it's just a very interesting song. I love it. I love it, and it's actually the first time I really sat down and listened to both of these albums, and they're really going to make me go back and check out the other Rush albums, because even though I am a Rush fan, I don't know the albums really like very well, but now I know these two pretty well, and these are my favorites so far.
Hey,
All right. No wonder people hate Wayne.
I see. Put my
Wait,
hair back over
next.
my eye again.
next go to Hemispheres. Trust me, you're gonna want to go there next.
I will.
Definitely.
I will. I'm going to check them all out.
I don't know. He likes Crazy Nights. He might be
I
a
was just
Hold
going
Your
to
Fire
say,
guy.
and after I listen to the Rush albums, I'm going right to Crazy Nights because I need a cleansing.
Like 2112 and all Farewell to King. So there is hope.
It was
Yeah.
a tough pick though, because they are both good songs, but I just love all the stuff that went on in 2112. It was just amazing.
All right, hey Al, how about you, man?
Well, both are awesome songs, man. I mean, great. But yeah, I gotta go with 21. And to preface this, I usually do these album battles like when I do other podcasts or whatever. I never really, unless I'm not really that familiar with the album, but I've listened to these albums thousands of times. So I'm just going with my gut feeling. I didn't like sit there and write down on paper what was gonna beat what. So but I'm going with 2112. I mean, it's just such a classic. The story is unbelievable. A dystopian world, that's in the future, that outlawed music, and kind of like the direction we're kind of going in, if you can really like think about it. But when you listen to Farewell to Kings too, the song, it can almost be like a kind of a sequel to 2112. If you really like listen to it. When we turn the pages of history, when these days have passed long ago, it can almost be like kind of a sequel of 2112, thinking back on like what happened and all that stuff. Now I'm getting real, cerebral into this shit, but I gotta go with 2112. To me, it's just that it's such a classic that really like saved them actually their career, that album, you know, because they were after Crust of Steel, they were about to get dropped from the label, and for them to come back and do another sidelong epic that was against the record company's wishes, and put it on side one instead of side two, which they did with Crust of Steel, was a real ballsy move on their part. And they, you know, even in the documentary, they were like, you know, if we're gonna go down, we're just gonna go down doing it our own way. And, you know, and that brought them their freedom, man, and to do what they want. So 2112 gets the edge on this song. Even though I love Farewell to the Kings song, 2112, gotta give it to that.
All right. How about you, Manny?
2112 for me. I love Farewell to Kings, but 2112 is a sentimental favorite as a kid. It's the second Rush album I ever bought, so I would listen to it all the time. And one thing we didn't mention, Ralph, you mentioned the first Rush album. You guys ever think about the growth as musicians, as songwriters from that album? Just how many years later is 2112? When was that released? 76?
I think
2 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just within 2 years, the growth as musicians. And they're one of the few bands I can think of that you can actually go stages, you know, eras with the same lineup. But 2112 for sure. I'm not a big guy on concept albums or concepts in general. I mean, I do like concept albums. I like Tommy, I like The Wall, but honestly, I look at it as individual songs. But this works as individual songs and as a huge piece of work. Anyway, 2112 for me, Mr. Ralph.
All right. How about you, Tony?
Got to go 2112 as well, because I just love it. It's such an epic song. I mean, you know, Farewell to Kings is a great song as well. And then this whole project has been tough to pick these between, because both these albums are just fantastic. But I've always loved 2112, and like I said, I'm a big fan of the All the World's a Stage album. So even the live version on there, that's the one I got so used to hearing over the years. But when I first got 2112 on CD, I actually listened to it through headphones for the first time. So that would have been sometime in the late 90s or something. So that was definitely a new experience, just hearing it through headphones with the way it's mixed. You know, it's just an amazing album all around. But that song's going to take it, the title track. Yeah.
Many of my teenage years, man, I would get so stoned and put on 2112 on the headphones, side one. Forget it. That was godly.
I wish I would have mentioned that before, because like I said, I really never listened to these albums, and I listened to them in headphones the other night while I was writing my notes down, and it was things I really didn't notice from listening on my stereo in the car or whatever at home. And then when I was listening to the Farewell to Kings album, Geddy's in one of the songs, Geddy's like whispering in my ear on this side, and he's talking on this side. I'm like, that's kind of creepy, but that's cool. You know, I don't want to hear him whispering in my ear, but it's cool.
He does that on Twilight Zone too, on 2112.
Yeah, it did. It's awesome. That's the best way to listen to these albums, is with headphones.
Yeah.
Sure.
Victor,
Tony, who produced that album? You have it in front of you?
Terry Brown.
Terry did them all.
Yeah, so Terry Brown went from album number 2 all the way to what? Grace Under Pressure, or before that? Signals. He ended with Signals. Oh, that's Peter Collins, who would work with Genesis, right? Produced that one. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm talking about Grace. That's, I think, Peter Collins, right?
Don't rush ahead, Manny.
Peter Henderson was the producer on
Peter Henderson,
Yeah.
That's the only album that's the only album that he produced for that.
Yeah.
So,
Peter Collins started killing Rush with Perfect Windows.
Power Windows and
Yeah, that one.
Ultrafire.
you know,
Okay, so I was one ahead.
you know what
Thank you,
I
guys.
like? You know what I like back in the day? I like Geddy Lee's solo album, My Favorite Headache.
Love it.
But I
Love it.
didn't like Alex's Victor, which, by the way, Victor's here. And you're going to tell us, Victor, what would you pick between 2112 or Farewell to King?
It was tough because I'm going to echo what everybody just said, because I adore A Farewell to Kings. I think it's an amazing track, and it seems unfair to put it up against 2112, which, you know, is the first side of an entire album, but it's such a brilliant, just a collection of thoughts and passages, and just really amazing. I remember, yeah, the first time I heard it, I was probably, I don't know, 13, 14 years old, and it, yeah, just completely blew my mind. And yeah, listening to it on, I think, a Walkman at the time, and 80 something, and yeah, just there's so much happening with that song, so many different elements, and yeah, and as a sci-fi geek, I loved it. I loved the idea of this dystopian, rock and roll song, this rock and roll anthem almost in a way, and and from start to finish, it just kind of blew my mind. But yeah, so I'm just echoing what everybody else has already said, but yeah, amazing song, amazing.
Even that little passage when the guy discovers the guitar and he's just strumming it. Even the writing in that is just clever. The way that it's just an incredible piece. I mean, until recently they got no credit as
it's a little out of tune, and then he tunes it up, and it's kind of cool, man.
Yeah.
All right, Ian.
I mean, this one's easy. 2112. I mean, everybody's gonna pick 2112. I love Farewell to Kings. I love the song. I love the album. It's still probably, though, a lot lesser to me in their 70s output than it is to most people. And I was even, I'm a huge Primus fan, and both Ralph and I don't know if any of you other guys saw the Primus tour where they did Farewell to Kings.
Yes.
Al, of course, Victor. Okay. And no, it's great, but I was like, oh, why Farewell to Kings? I would have loved Hemisphere. Even with Primus, I would have loved Caress of Steel. It'd been so weird and different. But it's not even close. It's not even close. 2112 all the way. And then I just want to state too, I mean, no disrespect, but every time Al talks, I go take a piss. And that's, it just happens that way, Al. I respect your opinion, but I drink a lot, so I got to pee, and you echo so fucking much, I can still hear you in the house. And go pee, I can hear everything you say.
I know why it's echoing, because I just had this room redone, painted, and put new flooring. I didn't put any of the furniture or anything back in here, so
Yeah.
I'm sitting in a vanilla ass room over here.
All right, nobody wants to hear your white people problems. But no, and it's funny what Manny said too about look at the 2 years difference. In those the 2 years they went from the first album to this album, I went from smoking tomato plant thinking it was weed to smoking actual marijuana and listening to 2112, and holy shit, a lot of you are saying, yes, this is a headphone band. And a headphone album. I mean, this is one of those, even listening to it today, I put on headphones because that is the way to listen to this shit. And clearly 2112 is the winner. No disrespect to Farewell to Kings, great song, but 2112.
All right, yeah, I think it's a clean sweep. 2112 all the way. It's not even close for me. And I love Farewell to King. I think it's a great song, but it's not even close. 2112 is a masterpiece. And I've always been a little confused with the story. I'm not sure if it's a happy ending or if it's a sad ending. Because we have a control. It sounds kind of like the high priest have taken over, right?
No,
Yeah.
It's a little bit of both. The guy commits suicide, and as he does that, the actual good guys are coming in to take over the priest. So it's actually the good guys that win.
Okay, well, Al just got us demonetized because he said suicide. So we're not going to make any money off this fucking
Hey, the guy
episode on
takes his
YouTube.
life, man. What do you want me
Way
to
to go. Way to go.
It is spooky though, because we're kind of living that today. It's like I think in about 2 years they're gonna outlaw all this shit, and then somebody's gonna go discover a guitar, go up to the high priest and play it, and the high priest is gonna say, "Get a turntable. Do not bother us with this musicianship crap. Go get a computer and turntable. Be a DJ." I think that's what right?
But the sad thing is today, it'd be a kid discovering Guitar Hero, and he would have the Nintendo fucking guitar. It's not the same. Not the same.
All right. Well, Wayne, what's the next two songs? It's Xanadu and
And a passage to Bangkok.
yeah. Where are
I
you
just like
going?
saying Bangkok.
Where-
I'm going with Xanadu on this one. It was kind of a really tough pick because I like both of these songs actually. Passage to Bangkok. Actually, I now I know where Anthrax, and I know you hate this song, Ralph. But the song Indians, they stole that from Anthrax. I mean, from Rush, like that guitar lead.
From this song?
Yeah,
Wow.
recognize that?
Now I got to go listen now.
No, you listen to it. But I really like the song. Some catchy guitar melodies that draw my attention. Xanadu, though, this is another great song. I was kind of on the fence of which one to go on, just on the lyrics alone. So I hate that word Xanadu. I don't know why, just a weird word. But I'll let it slide. I was going to pick, or I said that. I love the keyboard sounds, and I love how the song takes you on a journey. It's just a really great track, and yeah, I'm going Xanadu.
All right. How about you,
Fuck
Al?
that up.
Al.
Well, I gotta go Xanadu, man, because Xanadu is my #1 Rush song of all time, my favorite Rush song. Just the epicness of that song, the way it opened. I mean, that you want to talk about a headphone song? That's a headphone song with the beginning swells of like oscillation, volume, pedal, doing guitar, and with the echo and the delay and all that stuff. Every time I saw them do that in concert with like the Dry Ice come out on stage, and and the double neck guitars, and it would just send chills up my spine. As a fan, I would just be like so in awe of like seeing that, man. And I love Passage to Bangkok. That's a great song, but Xanadu is my #1, so I'm going with that one.
Right on. How about you, Manny?
Definitely Xanadu. I do like Passage to Bangkok, but I don't believe Neil wrote those lyrics. I think that was Lee. But anyway, I like the song. It's one of the few songs, I guess, where Rush are not being so serious, but I prefer Xanadu. I think it's a great song, great songwriting, and musicianship is incredible. So Xanadu for me.
All right, Tony.
Both great tracks, but since I dined on honeydew for dinner, I think I'm going to go with Xanadu. Just a great track, but I mean, I love Passage to Bangkok. I mean, that opening riff is just so heavy. The one that you said sounds like Anthrax, but I really don't hear it. But yeah, great riff. But yeah, Xanadu is just a great track. I was reading, I think it was in Pete Way from UFO's autobiography. He was talking about touring with Rush, and they would put out all the Dry Ice for Xanadu, and he said that he and like Michael Schenker sometimes would like climb in under the Dry Ice and like do practical jokes on. They called Geddy Lee, they referred to him as Glee, and they would hold up signs or shout out stuff about dining on honeydew and stuff during the live performances.
That's awesome.
Kind of practical jokes on them,
I think it's because they wore the kimonos too.
Yeah. Yeah, they said that they wore those kimonos, and once Pete Way got some like ballerina slippers and like left them on like one of them's amp or whatever. So when the fog kind of dispersed, they saw the ballerina slippers there.
Yeah, I remember them in one of those documentaries, how UFO was goofing on them with the whole dining on honeydew stuff. All right, Victor, which one would you?
I gotta go with Xanadu. I'm gonna echo Al's statement. I want the greatest Rush song ever. I know it's a bold statement. Maybe the greatest song ever. I adore Xanadu. It's for me, it's everything. It's a perfect song. I think it's kind of a proto prog metal. It's I think it's just genius. And I love, Passage to Bangkok. I mean, who doesn't love a song about dope? But yeah, I mean, great tune, rockin' tune. But yeah, Xanadu, man, that's just perfection in my opinion right there. And I think it showed, as Manny said, I think it really, as you said about 2112, I think this song is a huge leap for them maturity wise in terms of songwriting as well.
Right on. All right, Ian.
Well, no pun intended. I'm going to echo on what Al said. Xanadu, and the same with Victor. It's my favorite Rush song. It's fucking amazing, and I love Passage of Bangkok. So it was a hard, but you compare the two, there's no room for discussion here. It's fucking Xanadu, and I'm so drunk I even get what Wayne was saying, with the with the Indians reference, that down 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 down.
Thank you.
But what's funny, I was listening to Passage of Bangkok today, with that little and I was like, and Ralph, you brought up a great point. You said everything's going to be canceled in a couple of years. I was watching this show with my grandchildren, The Aristocats, which is a Disney cartoon. And do you know they put a disclaimer now before you watch it, apologizing for this cartoon being racially insensitive, because there's a cat band, and they're like a jazz band, but the one cat, the drummer cat, puts a symbol on his head. He's like, and now Disney has to apologize, and I'm like, is it really that bad, or am I oblivious and that's how racism starts?
They did that with the Muppets too.
But
ridiculous.
Well, yeah. Well, with the Muppets, I got it because they put that disclaimer before the Muppets episode that Sammy Hagar was on, where they said, this is grooming. I get that. But I'm beating a dead horse here. It's okay, Manny. Calm down. But Xanadu, Xanadu. Love me some Bangkok, but Xanadu.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Yeah, this one, I mean, it's not super close, but it's way closer.
Right. No, I get it. They're two great songs, but Xanadu's on another level.
Passage to Bangkok is amazing, man. My second favorite song off 2112. But I could go with Xanadu as well. I don't think the next songs, though, we're all going to be perfect on.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. Because I think we're going to get a little different here. But yes, I got to go with Xanadu. And I love the Exit Stage Left version, which I heard the other day while walking around my iPod. Listen to that. Everything's the same except that one part where Neil comes in. Boom, ba, boom, boom, ba. That shit was, that little 2 seconds of that song freaking owns, man. I am alone on this, by the way. I'm a huge fan of All the World's a Stage, but I like Exit Stage Left better.
And that makes me think about when you came to New Orleans too, because remember that was the day I got my huge speaker, that huge Sony speaker.
Yeah.
And we were on my back patio, and you're like, Exit Stage Left, put it on.
That's right. That's right. We played it in your porch.
And I'm more, I love All the World's a Stage a little bit more.
I love it.
Right. But I mean, how do you argue? They're both fucking amazing.
Yeah, Exit Stage Left is awesome. A lot of people argue because it's different shows and it fades out after the song. I really don't care.
Who gives a fuck? It's a great fucking album.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's bullshit. Yeah. It's a great album. Who gives a fuck if it fades?
Yeah,
Jeez.
Wayne won't split hairs over that.
No.
Yeah, Wayne.
I won't split any hairs because I don't have any.
You bald motherfucker.
If you love Exit Stage Left, check out the live show that came in the Moving Pictures box set. Amazing, man.
Oh yeah.
I damn it, Al, I love that echo. We don't even need closed captioning. Marlene Matlin can see what you're saying. That's how bad that echo is. I love it.
Mark Daly wants to know, why is that fade out on the Exit Stage Left? That's because it's from a different show.
Yeah, they're all different shows.
Okay.
Yeah, they're from, I don't know how many shows.
I have that, but I haven't even listened to it yet. I gotta get.
I love that live album. I absolutely love it. Which is what I really like about it too, is that it features songs from the first 3 albums that weren't on All the World's a Stage, like Passage of Bangkok and Beneath, Between, Behind from Fly By Night. Yeah. One of my favorite songs. It's such a deep track, but it's one of Rush's heaviest songs ever. And they put it on Exit Stage Left. And then that time I went to Lakeland, they played it. So I actually got to see them play that song once. But
Mark Daly also just asked, how do you make a woman come? This is a Rush episode. So we have no idea.
Take her to Bangkok.
I love 70s live albums. They seem like event albums, back then, and they were a big deal. So I love All the World's a Stage. I think,
70s live albums were better because live albums were kind of ruined in the 80s with MTV because you can see concerts in the 80s. In the 70s, you put on Kiss Alive or All the World's a Stage, you put yourself, I remember the days before MTV where I would open up the album and Rush All the World's Stage was 3 panels, of stuff to watch, It was beautiful. And MTV kind of, I don't know, I never ever felt a live album was as special as everything from Cheap Trick and Budokan down.
I think like a perfect analogy to that is like, 70s live albums. I would rather listen to Judas Priest Unleashed in the East, but I would rather watch Judas Priest Fuel for Life than listen to Priest live. You know what I mean? There's just a trade-off there. You're right. It got to be more visual. And where in the 70s, it was all about the audio and the excitement of the crowd.
Which was the visuals in your head. You make your own movie. Mm-hmm. It was just people don't like after MTV. Nobody knows what it was like to live in a world where you didn't have this shit telecasted. You can only hear it off your stereo, which you would always put. That's why Don Kirshner and Midnight Special was so awesome back then.
Genius. It was fucking genius.
You can see now and then one of those bands you love actually live on that. But
when MTV came along and you knew what Bachman Turner Overdrive looked like, it wasn't the same.
For sure.
All right, Wayne. So next we got
Twilight Zone and Closer to the Heart.
Yeah. All right. Let's see which one's this one.
This was tough. This was really, really tough. Let me see. I'm gonna go with Twilight Zone. You really need to listen. This is the song I was mentioned before where you really got to listen to it in headphones. I got the album switched up. Because this is the one where he's got the whispering thing going and the vocals are panning and all over the place. So it's kind of really cool. Listen to that. And there's also some parts in the song that kind of remind me of like a Thin Lizzy song too. So I thought that was really cool. But I really like this song, and it's really hard to pick over which one over the other. Closer to the Heart. I've heard this song so many times, so I already knew it obviously from the radio. I love the acoustic guitars, and when it kicks into the heavier part, it really makes the song more exciting as it goes. Very catchy chorus. As much as I like Twilight Zone, I'm going with Closer to the Heart. It's just a classic song. So it was really tough for me to pick. I'm going with Closer to the Heart, but it's a really close tie. Really close tie.
All right, Al.
I don't know, man. I might be a little contrarian on this one, man, but I'm going with the Twilight Zone. I do love Closer to the Heart. I consider it a classic. I tend to like the live versions of that song better than the studio version. The studio version is very short, very to the point. I loved it when they stretched out on the live version and kind of jammed out on it. That being said, I think I like the Twilight Zone better, studio version wise. I've always loved the Twilight Zone show. I thought Rod Serling was a fucking genius. I used to always watch the marathons like during New Year's Day, and
sci-fi.
And when you listen to that on headphones, like Wayne was saying, you hear like the whisper track, and it's kind of spooky, man. Like when you listen to it, you're like, as he's singing, you're hearing the whispering like behind the vocal. And I thought that's like the fucking coolest thing ever, man. As a kid, like listening to that, I kind of get a little weirded out, but it was cool at the same time. So I'm going with Twilight Zone. I don't know if anybody else can pick it, but contrarian here. So
all right, Manny.
I'm gonna go with Closer to the Heart. And just the lyrics alone, men who hold high places must be the ones who start to mold a new reality closer to the heart. I wish politicians would read that. But anyway, I'm going to go with Closer to Heart. Great song. Before there were power ballads, before all that crap, every band did that. They did it the right way. And did it because they wanted to. They didn't do it for the charts. They wrote it for themselves. Anyway, great song. So Closer to Heart for me.
All right, Tony.
I got to do the same. I got to go Closer to the Heart. I love Twilight Zone. It's a great song. But Closer to the Heart, I love the lyrics, love the arrangement of it. I do like the live version better than the studio version. But yeah, this studio version is pop rock perfection. And Rush proved that they could write radio friendly songs as well as go off and play technical instrumental type stuff or more proggy stuff.
All right.
yeah.
Okay, Victor.
Yeah, same with me. I'm going Closer to the Heart. I always loved the song. I love the transition from that opening, that mellow opening, and then the hard hitting rocking part of it. And as much as I love Twilight Zone, and Twilight Zone, it's funny. That's a song that I grew to love. But the first time I heard it, I thought it was goofy. To be honest, to be completely honest, it doesn't feel like Rush to me sometimes. It feels like a filler track almost, which is a terrible thing to say about Rush at all. But Closer to the Heart for me is just there's so much breadth and so much depth in that song. So anyway, that's what I'm going with.
All right, Ian.
I'm going to back up the guy whose balls are only matched by his echo, and that's Al. I'm going fucking Twilight Zone. I can't stand Closer to the Heart. I mean, maybe can't stand is a fucking, is pushing it. It's all right. But to me, it's pussy Rush. It's Rush for people who don't like Rush. Where Twilight Zone is Rush for people who like Rush. It's the ultimate Twilight Zone. Smoke a fucking doobie and listen to that shit. I'm telling you. I mean, la 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 la, and the shit going from ear to ear. God damn. This was the easiest pick. The easiest pick. It could have been like, Close to the Heart was going up against Forever. And I'd be like, yeah.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, come on. Twilight Zone fucking rules. 21-12 for the fucking win.
It is so good.
I am a huge fan of Closer to the Heart. I absolutely love the hell out of that song. Twilight Zone destroys it.
Yes!
Twilight Zone is 100 times better. And I said it. I love Closer to the Heart. I'm no hater like Ian. But Twilight Zone, that song owns. But Victor does make a good point. It doesn't really feel like a Rush song, really.
No, it's like REO Speedwagon.
Yeah. Yeah. You make me laugh something fire seeing.
Yeah, here's a new one from Kansas, Closer to the Heart.
Hell yeah. But anyway, Twilight Zone, my third favorite. I mean, it's in order. My favorite is 21-12, then Path to Bangkok. Man, Twilight Zone is so cool. And yes, like Al said, I'm a huge, huge fan of Twilight Zone. I think what's his face was a genius. Though Night Gallery, everybody praises that one. No, it's all about the Twilight Zone. Night Gallery.
I like Night Gallery.
Oh, Night Gallery had its moments, but no, it's no Twilight Zone.
Oh, it's no Twilight Zone, no.
Rod Sterling, that's the guy's name. Guy was a freaking chain smoking genius. And I saw this thing on him not too long ago. And yeah, he didn't really have a lot to do with Night Gallery. Like here and there,
Yeah, as it went on. But the cool thing about Rod Serling is he was all about Twilight Zone. He said Closer to the Heart sucked. It's in his autobiography.
Kyron in the chat wants to know if the song Twilight Zone is about the show Twilight Zone.
Yes. Actually, each verse has to do with a specific episode, like the diner with the three eyes. So, it's an awesome song, man. They really did capture the weirdness of the show and the lyrics. It's very un-Rush-like. Rush has no song like Twilight Zone. It's really an anomaly,
And then in the liner notes of the album, they actually thank Rod Serling in the liner notes as well. So it's definitely about the show.
Yeah, and Neil Purtis come out and said Rod Sterling's a freaking genius. That was awesome, man. All right, wait.
And while we're checking in with the chat room, Yes, Mark Daly, your wife is cheating on you.
With who?
She with who else? I mean, with everybody. I mean, come on. She's married to Mark Daly, for Christ's sake.
Oh my God, not anymore. I'm going this as Lessons and Cinderella Man. I'm going with Cinderella Man. Lessons didn't really do much for me. I think that's the filler track of that album there. But Cinderella Man, again, like closer to the heart. I like how they go from electric to acoustic in certain parts of the song. Keeps it very interesting, and the song's very upbeat. And I'm gonna go with Cinderella Man. Really cool song.
All right, Al.
Yeah, Lessons is Alex Lifeson wrote the lyrics to that one. Actually, if you look in the liner notes, he wrote the lyrics. On the old Rush albums, there'd be the odd song where like Geddy would write a lyric to a song, and even Alex like wrote the lyrics to Lessons. However, Cinderella Man, I got to go with that one. If you listen to it on headphones during Alex's solo where it pans left and right, just ridiculous, man. The production on that, and just love the song. I like the song more than Lessons, so I'm going with Cinderella Man.
All right, Manny.
I'm going to go with Cinderella Man. I honestly didn't remember Lessons at all until I took a listen to it this afternoon. I didn't really remember it. And it's funny because I've listened to Farewell to Kings thousands of times and I didn't remember it. But Cinderella Man, I think it's points forward to not only Rush, but a lot of other bands that are supposedly progressive metal took a lot from that tune. Anyway, Cinderella Man for me.
Right on, Tony.
I'm going to be the odd man out, and I'm going to go with Lessons. I listened to both albums this morning. I love both. I thought they were both great songs. I was trying to figure out which one to pick, and I don't know. I think Alex's guitar solo on Lessons is what sold me. So I'm going to go with Lessons for this one.
All right, Vic.
Cinderella Man. Love that song. Yeah, Lessons is a great track, but yeah, Cinderella Man, just classic song for me. It's always been a favorite.
Right on, Ian.
Fucking going with the one and only Tony Dio. God damn it! Fucking Lessons, hands down. Da 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 da. You didn't listen again. I mean, God, you put Cinderella Man up against that? Jesus fuck, Lessons all fucking day, man. Cinderella Man's all right. Don't hate it. But it's no fucking Lessons, man. To me, Lessons is the sleeper on the fucking record. I love that. Yeah. I love that fucking song, man. I love that. Da-da. I mean, that fucking riff. That's fucking metal. You fucking half a fags with you. Jesus Christ. Lessons. Final answer.
They're both extremely close. And I really would like to give it to Cinderella Man because I'm a big fan of British cigarettes. But I gotta go with Lessons because Lessons has more pubic hair. Lessons has been laid by women.
Yeah, Lessons kissed a girl.
Yeah. No, but goddamn, do I love Cinderella. I love that song so much. It is very close for me. The only reason I'm going with Lessons because it just rocks harder, you know? And I like stuff that rocks harder. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Cinderella Man like looks at the girl in the study hall but never hands her the fucking note. Fucking Lessons fingered that bitch. 2 in the pink, 1 in the stink.
That is true, by the way. People are there taking notes.
Yes.
Listen to what Ian says. He's always correct with his knowledge.
Lessons. He's giving lessons.
Yeah, Lessons right there.
Yeah, but Wayne didn't listen again.
All right, Wayne Nude. What are the tracks?
Tears and I'm going to pronounce this Madrigal.
Yeah, Magical.
Close enough. I don't like Madrigal. I think it's another filler track for me, but I'm going with Tears. The song reminds me a little bit of a Genesis song. I think it's a really cool ballad. It's catchy, and the chords they're playing are pretty sad sounding. So this makes you feel something. It really makes you get into the song, and something's going on. I don't know what because I didn't read the lyrics, but really cool song. I like it. Tears is my favorite one here.
All right. Hey, Al, what do you think?
I'm going with Tears as well. My mom actually loved that song. When I would play her that song, she was like, wow, I really love that song. You know, when I was younger, I'd play it. I'm like, wow, female loves a Rush song. But maybe my mom was trying to make me feel better or something. I don't know. But no, Tears is
Try to tell you something.
Tears is I like that song better than Magical. Check out Alice in Chains cover of that song. They did a really good cover of that.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Really?
I have something to say about that cover.
Yeah, so I'm going with Tears.
All right, Manny.
I'm gonna go with Tears. I just think it's great songwriting, and I like it. I feel like I'm becoming a ballad guy here because usually I don't like ballads, but I do like that tune. So,
All right, Tony.
I used to listen to 2112 a lot, and I would always skip Tears, just never liked it. And I listened to it again this morning next to Magical, and Magical is actually a shorter song. I don't like either one of them, but I'm going to pick Magical just because it's shorter. Because I'm going to skip both on each album.
All right. How about you, Victor?
Tears. I love the guitar playing on that song. Just, yeah, really, really amazing stuff on there. So that's all I got to say.
Right on, Ian.
Well, first of all, I want to say I like both, but that being said, it's not even close. Tears, and I'm not the ballad guy. You know, I can't stand that wah shit. But Tears, I mean, I feel something every time I hear it, and I think that's a testament to a ballad. Like, you know, can you play it for a man who knows what pussy smells and tastes like and feels like, and still make him you know shed a tear? And that song does it. I mean, it just comes across the way it's sung, the way it's played, just head and shoulders above that. You know,
Hold on,
I don't even think it's close. Love Tears.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Yeah, you know, I wasn't. What happened there?
Al's crying.
Sorry.
Yeah, you couldn't hear it. It echoed like 5 fucking times.
So it's like the drop hit the phone.
Ian got me very emotional there, you know. So I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go with Tears as well. Magical is a song I like now, but I didn't like it. Like Ian and I did a review of this album.
Did we?
And yeah, we did on the podcast. And I remember bashing Magical. Wasn't a fan, but I've grown to like it. But I do like Tears better. But I will say this. I think Alice in Chains did even a better version than what Rush does. You got to hear Alice in Chains version of Rush.
It's very good.
Tears. I mean, I grew up with Tears my whole life, and I've heard, you know, I heard this Alice in Chains version when I bought the 2112 box set, and I was absolutely floored how much, because it's that vocal melody. It like enhances the song a lot.
What is it on?
Mm-hmm. It's a box set.
Yeah, the box
The
set,
40th anniversary.
the box set
Oh, okay.
like a covers album. I had Dream,
All
a
right.
bunch of bands, and they were one of them. And I think that's the best song on that covers album. Just think,
Definitely.
yeah, it's one of those rare occasions where I actually like a cover more than the original. I have no
Yeah.
problem.
was that with Lane Staley or was that
No.
after he passed
No.
away?
No.
William Duvall.
But
Okay.
it's just the vocal melody, the combined vocals to the song.
It's that haunting Alice in Chains signature,
Yeah.
the two voices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and that's what I love about it, you know. And if you got that, you know, the box set, the 2112, they have, you know, the whole album covered by other artists and stuff. And I deleted all the other ones on my phone except for the Alice in Chains one, because that's the one. It's like, yeah, I mean, you know how covers are. It's like it's either got to be like so amazing or they've done something so different with it, you know, to keep your interest. And I love that's what Alice in Chains did with it, you know, added that signature sound to where like you don't even know it's a Rush song. It's just like it fits within Alice in Chains, which I'm a huge fan of.
It makes the
Incredible
song.
cover.
I think the song is much spookier. Alice in Chains, because it's so depressing to that depressing music. I
Yeah.
just thinking to answer. All right. Are we down to the last song, Wayne?
I asked two songs, Something for Nothing and Cygnus X, what is it, X1?
Yeah.
X1.
Let's see here. Something for Nothing. Great ending for what is considered one of Rush's best albums, and I see why. Really well thought out songs. The progressiveness isn't overdone like I always feel a lot of progressive bands do, but I'll say I don't feel that here. Everything has its purpose to tell the story. And Cygnus, another good ending track. It's a bit all over the place, but there's some pretty interesting twists and turns. I like the spacey feel, and Geddy really does some really wicked yelling towards the end of this. Again, a tough choice, but Something for Nothing wins for me.
Right on, Al.
I'm going with the epic to end all epics, Cygnus X1. I remember being a kid and getting a Farewell to the Kings and listening to that. When the last track came on, listening to it in headphones in the dark, I was fucked me up as a kid a little bit, man. With that intro, kind of the same way that the song Black Sabbath did, you know, years earlier when I was a kid listening to that. It was just so I don't know, just fucking evil and just sound evil with the bell tolling and all that shit. And then with the sound effects and then Geddy's bass, like you hear it out in the distance and he's playing the riff and it gradually comes to the forefront. And then when they kick in, man, it's, I don't know, dude, the hairs just stand up for me, man. So I gotta go sing this X1. I mean, that's just a badass way to end the album. And they continue that story in the next album, which is even cooler. So.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. All right, Russ taking a shit. Manny, what do you think?
I'm gonna go with Something for Nothing. Listen to Farewell to Kings. It wasn't my favorite 70s album from them, and I listened to it a lot, but apparently not as much as I did the other albums that came out. I even listened to Hemispheres more than this one. But Something for Nothing, I like it. Plus, I remember from the live album, so that's probably why I like it so much. Something for Nothing.
Nice. Tony?
I'm gonna go with Something for Nothing because I love the live version from All the World's a Stage. I just always love that song. I love the message in it. Cygnus is a great progressive track and it builds and it's really cool. But really, that's the epic track from the album. I mean, that would have been the one that should have gone up against 2112 Overture, really, if you think about it. But I got to go Something for Nothing for the final track.
Awesome. Victor?
I'm going with Cygnus. I love Something for Nothing. It's a great rocking song, but Cygnus just, I'm going to echo what Al said. As a kid, when I first heard that, it really blew my mind, especially as a science fiction nerd and loving that old school British sci-fi. It kind of felt like that, especially with that narrative part in the weird, the deep voice talking about the star and the black hole. I found it really fascinating. I love the fact, and I don't know if any other band had done this at that time. I know it's been done now, but to do a song that then is the
opening,
for the next album, I thought it was fucking
cool.
Brilliant. I mean, that was amazing. And I'm not sure if anybody had done that prior to that. They
did it afterwards, but not.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I just thought it was amazing song. It's just epic, just hugely epic song. But yeah, Something for Nothing fucking rocks. What a great song.
The weird voice in the Cygnus X1, that's actually the producer Terry Brown.
Interesting.
Yeah, through like a treated voice. I remember, that scared the shit out of me as a kid, man.
Yeah, that's cool. I always assumed it was Alex, but that's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I gotta say, going into this review, I thought this was going to be the hardest pick. I really did. Because I love both these songs and I really love Something for Nothing. I think that's a great way to end 2112. But I when I was preparing for this, I listened to it just like how this is set up. I'd listen to song one from this album, then song one on the next album. And doing it like that, man, Cygnus wins. I love Something for Nothing. I don't want to take anything away from it, but goddamn, Cygnus X1, and probably one of my, most amazing moments as a Rush fan was that show I saw with Ralph, the last show, where they go from Cygnus 1 into Cygnus 2. And it was just like, holy, like even if you needed a beer, you had to piss. You just, you didn't drink and you pissed where you sat, and I did both. It's fucking amazing. So Cygnus X1 for me.
So far it's a tie. So Ralph.
Those Depends were soaked, weren't they?
I'm gonna break the tie. Both great songs, but man, Cygnus is up there like my top 5 greatest Rush songs ever. I mean, that song goes through so many weird things, and it gets so heavy too. And of course, the amazing guitar and bass playing. It's just prog metallic prog genius. I love the whole. It really does capture being lost in space and and going through a black hole and all that shit into hemispheres. I love it. I think it's way better than part 2, to tell you the truth. And I love hemispheres, don't get me wrong, but part 1 is the shit. And I'm breaking the tie, and I love Something for Nothing. Great rockin' tune that I wish I can give it to, but I can't. Cygnus is up there as one of my favorite Rush songs ever. So it wins. I got the Record Store Day Cygnus on one side, and the second side is Hemispheres.
Oh, cool.
Still sealed. I wonder how much that goes for now.
$1.
But hey, there you go, man. Did you guys have fun? Because I sure did.
Yeah.
And the winner is Farewell to Kings, which I was very shocked. I thought 2112 would have won this whole thing.
Is it?
I was tracking
Shocked.
everybody's things, and Farewell to Kings. Yep.
No.
And
4 songs as opposed to 2112.
And
Shut up, Wayne.
And my favorite Rush is 2112.
Yeah.
Yeah,
mine too.
I'm shocked.
My
Very
favorite of the 2 for sure.
But
Yeah, same here.
it is a phenomenal album. Farewell to King.
But neither one is better than Crazy Nights. So
Send out your hate mail to Wayne.
Yeah.
open your life at AOL.com. Send it.
No,
Give him a reason to live.
No, it's not. No, Going Blind with that amazing Bruce Kulick guitar on there is.
Yeah. Yeah. We all listen to Reason, but Wayne's like, I'm going to do it my way.
No, jeez.
I'd like to see Ralph and
No,
Ian.
no.
I'd like to see Ralph and Ian in kimonos next episode.
I don't know if I fit my kimono anymore, but I'll try.
That guy in a little kimono.
I'll
Luke-
try for the show.
Luke Skywalker
That
costume.
guy in a kimono.
We're never gonna top showing up dressed as Vinnie Vincent, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least I had the dress.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
pussy.
You know what? I refuse to put on a dress.
Yeah. Yeah. You haven't lived until you pissed in a bathroom in Nashville dressed in drag and Vinnie Vincent makeup. And the guy looks at you like, I'd hit it,
You didn't.
Was
You
it
didn't.
the Chinese
You weren't
version?
sporting the women's pantsuit.
No. No, the best was I bought the Moo in New Orleans and I had to ask the lady, I'm like, can you find a Moo that'll fit me? And at Walmart, you think that would be easy, I mean, just look at, videos from
Yeah.
Walmart. And no, it was a task. But I thought I wore it well.
Yes.
You were sexy as fuck.
Yeah, well, people in Nashville thought so.
Yeah.
Those fucking sheep fuckers.
It's because there's very ugly women in Nashville.
Yeah, it goes without saying.
You were very attractive.
But a woman in Nashville is like a woman in a Rush show. Fuck it, you'll take it.
Anyway, guys, this has been a blast. I want to thank Wayne. Wayne, give us the plug, man.
ratsoundreview.com, severedangel.bandcamp.com, buy a Severed Angel CD, projectresurrect.bandcamp.com, buy a Project Resurrect CD, and anything else? I don't know. That's it, I guess. And then hit subscribe to this channel too.
Yeah.
Not that he doesn't have enough subscribers already.
No. I need more. And so does Rat Dog. So click on there.
Yes, we do.
And Al, what do you got to? I know you got something to promote, dude.
Be Cool to Be Podcast Out. I have my own YouTube page. There's a lot of concert footage on there if you like watching concerts and shit. I have a YouTube, I'm sorry, a Facebook page as well, group, and that's really it. I don't really have anything cooking right now, but I appreciate you asking me to come on here, though, Ralph, and remembering that I had asked you if you were doing Rush. You know,
I can't believe I remembered that. My fucking for some reason, I remember that split second I read that, and then went on to my day where usually when I read something for a split second, I forget it 5 minutes later.
well, that ginkgo biloba is really working for you, buddy. So anyway, I seriously, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I am subscribed to Be Cool or Be Podcast Out.
Thank you.
Some episodes, really good stuff. Go check it out.
Thank you.
Manny, you got anything to plug, man?
I'm just ride your coattails and Wayne's coattails on these shows.
Oh, we do have.
And by the
guy
way, it was a
next
pleasure to
week,
meet both of you gentlemen. So thank you.
I forgot, Manny. We got the guy that wrote that Van Halen book next week.
Oh yeah, it's next week. What's his name?
I can't remember, but he'll be on next week. So
Oh,
he'll be
you're-
on. And
you're a
Ralph, I think you're
guy.
joining us too. if you
Jeez.
remember.
No, he's
Which guy?
I don't remember.
Which book? The Tone Chaser?
No.
Yes, that's the book.
Is that the book?
Tony.
Okay, that's the guy that wrote the
Yeah,
book. Yes.
that's the
He was
book.
like one of Eddie's friends.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, he's really
You
cool.
got anything to promote, man?
What's that?
You got anything to promote?
Not this week.
Soon. People
Soon.
are clamoring. They want you to start a YouTube page.
I know I need to do it. I need to find a time to sit
With
down.
that, you know, just like show off your collection. Like, all right, I'm going to talk about this band this week and show off.
Oh
all
yeah,
the stuff
yeah.
on the band.
It's
If you-
coming. It's coming. I just got to
Yeah,
find some time to do it.
I'm telling you, if you make a channel where it's like each video is your collection of that one band, it's going to explode, man.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Victor, you have anything to promote, my friend?
Yeah, a little bit. I just want to say this was an absolute pleasure and an honor being on the show. Thank you so very much. Super nice meeting all of you. I know Wayne, but yeah, great meeting all of you. I love the show. I've been watching it for a while.
Great shirt.
Oh, cool.
No, thank you. Thank you. Real quick, I have a page called Brews and Tunes. I pair metal and beer, and I also do interviews. My most recent interview was Roger Earl from Foghat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, fascinating
Wow.
guy, killer guy.
I just heard,
That's cool,
I
dude.
just heard today the new Foghat song, and
Yeah.
it rocked. It was total 70s rock.
They're
Yeah.
playing right by me. I should go see them
Yeah,
again.
you
Their
should.
new album kills. It's great.
Wait, who the hell's
Comes out in
left in
November.
it?
Just
Earl?
Roger- just
Roger's
Roger
the only
Earl.
original.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
the only
Roger
original.
Earl.
Who sings for him now?
Is it
Was
still
it
Charlie
Nugent
Hunt?
guy?
Yeah,
Isn't it?
Charlie Hunt
No.
retired.
No, he's
Oh,
not
and
in
Charlie
it.
Hunt's not with him?
No, he retired.
No, they got a new
Okay.
guy. He just joined it just this past year. I cannot remember. He plays guitar and sings. He
Does
came
he sound like
from-
Lonesome Dave?
A little bit, not exactly. He played with Buddy Guy. I
okay.
cannot
Right
think
on.
of his name right now, but yeah,
Okay,
Killer-
that's pretty
killer
impressive.
They got a
dude.
bluesman. That's cool.
yeah, they got a
Right
killer
on.
lineup. So yeah,
Cool.
check that out.
Well, right on, man. I'll definitely check out that interview. Hey, Ian, how about you? You got anything to plug?
Well, yeah, I want to plug. Check out Be Cooler, Be Podcast Out. So Al can afford a throw rug that'll stop this fucking echo. I mean, Wayne, we all love Wayne. Stop talking shit about Wayne in the
Oh, no.
comments.
Please let them talk. More shit. The more shit, the better.
All right, enough about you, Wayne. We all love Manny, aka Cole Peterson. Tony Dio is a fucking legend. And Victor, man, very nice to meet you, brother. And man,
you.
this guy's so hardcore. He's got a fucking Curse of the Hidden Mirrors fucking.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
And it's time.
Hey, I've got a Blowish Occult fucking tattoo, and I'm going to see him in a couple of months, and I wouldn't hang that fucking shit on
Oh.
my wall. So this guy has
There's
balls.
good songs on there.
And
Oh yeah,
you
I
know,
like that. I like that album a lot.
Dude, he's even got Venom action figures. Did you see that?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Total
Yep, I
dork.
have
But,
those. I have those as well.
Nice, right
But
on.
yeah.
And the King
check
Diamond
out-
Nutcracker.
Check out the Rock and Metal Combat podcast. I haven't been able to post in groups lately because I'm a bad boy. I get in trouble.
Can't be that mouth of yours, could it?
Yeah,
Couldn't be
yeah,
that
no,
mouth
yeah.
at all.
Yeah. Whatever I fucking post doesn't add up. But Patreon will be coming soon. But not as soon as we promised. But thank you, Ralph, for having me on, and Rock and Metal Combat Podcast. You guys will get a new episode in the next coming days. So
Yeah,
There you
the
go.
only reason I have you on is because I don't feel like plugging my podcast.
there you go.
I just put up with your babble till the end of the show. This is why I want you here. To plug
Right again, boss.
Yeah. Keep riding those coattails. God damn.
That's right. That's right.
So again, Al, thank you for joining us. And
Thank you, brother.
Victor, thank you so much for being here. And it was an honor having you both here. And as always, the great Sideshow Bob and Manny and Tony and Ian, the regular guys. You guys are awesome. We're all awesome. We rock. All right, guys. All right, I gotta go. So thanks again, everybody. And schmack 'em a gob and
Listen to Black Sabbath.
listen to Black Sabbath and stay frosty. And Sammy Hagar sucks.
And listen to Crazy Nights.